And here's evidence of Hunter Biden violating the Mann Act. This is trafficking women across state lines for prostitution. This is an airplane ticket showing that it was purchased by Hunter Biden for this victim, where she flew from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C., and then the next day flew back to Los Angeles. The date is she flew in from Los Angeles on June 14th, 2018, and was flown back to Los Angeles the following day. And this is pictures that Hunter Biden had produced and uploaded to porn websites, and it's marked out.
Mr. Chairman, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Showing proof of Mann Act violations. Democrats should not be offended by pictures that black out.
Have I been recognized?
They should be offended by human trafficking.
Mr. Chairman,
state your point.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. On July 26th, I sent you a letter about the last time this happened, when the gentlelady introduced before this committee, without any notice to anyone, nude photos, pornographic images that were completely irrelevant to the purpose of the hearing itself. And my question to you is, are members allowed to simply put up sensationalistic, voyeuristic, pornographic images if they're not relevant to the actual object of the legislative proceeding? I want a parliamentary ruling on that.
Mr. Raskin, that's probably part of the questioning for Mr. Biden, violations of the Mann Act. Ms. Green's led on that issue.
No, this is a question of the rules of the committee.
These pictures have already been entered into the record.
So in other words, you have accepted the idea that members can introduce irrelevant, sexually based, voyeuristic...
How is this irrelevant?
Well, how does it relate to Joe Biden?
How does it relate to...
We're not doing a criminal investigation of Hunter Biden.
We've
point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order.
Testified in the FBI, DOJ, IRS, that they were told to stand down investigating various crimes of the Biden family.
Okay.
Did Joe Biden tell them to stand down? Who told the IRS, the FBI, and everyone else to stand down? This is what we're investigating.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman.
I believe it's my time.
No,
I'm reclaiming my time.
I object to the use of this exhibit, Mr. Chairman. This is not a criminal investigation of the Mann Act or prostitution or anything else. It's completely irrelevant to a subpoena, the validity of that subpoena, and whether or not there's been compliance with that subpoena. It's totally extraneous, immaterial, and irrelevant. And someone should explain that to Ms. Green if she doesn't understand.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
And let the chair rule. You had a point of order. The chair's rule.
This is
evidence. You objected. We got that. Evidence that Hunter is a material witness in this investigation.
Well, does that mean you can put up pornographic pictures of other people that Hunter Biden has met in his life? I mean, come on. Like, how far does that go? It's not relevant to your motion.
Well, you can ask him that in the deposition.
It's not relevant. No, honestly, Mr. Chairman, it's not relevant to your motion of whether or not he violated that subpoena. How do those naked pictures have been...
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
This is not the Jerry Springer show. This is the United States House of Representatives.
And let me say this. This is not pornography. It's appropriately censored evidence in an ongoing investigation.
Yes.
Okay? It's appropriately censored evidence in an ongoing investigation.
Mr.
Biggs,
I just want to say, pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 17, I object to the use of this exhibit as irrelevant, extraneous, sensationalistic, voyeuristic, and totally antithetical to the legislative purposes of this committee in this House. This is not the Jerry Springer show. Yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Biggs for a point of order. Your clock stopped, Ms. Green.
Yeah, my point of order is to
and I appeal the ruling of the chair. If that was a ruling, Mr. Chairman, did you rule on it? Because I appeal your ruling.
So I was recognized for my point of order, and I get it. He wants to have an appeal. So, but I'm trying to keep this in order as much as we can. Mr. Chairman, my question is to you: is now the objection based on relevance going to be encountered here and constrain what can be presented in this committee? And the reason I ask that is because there is virtually nothing. A comment I made in the press about it was totally tangential to this that they just tried to get in. all of that becomes irrelevant. If that's the case, then the entire Democrat testimony that we've heard today should be stricken as being irrelevant.
No, I think you're
Irrelevant and
We're
pornographic.
going to have a ruling, So Ms. Green is attempting to enter this into the record, unanimous consent. Mr. Raskins has objected. And we're going to vote on it, just like we voted on the last amendment.
Stricken her, clearly. They defend all women, don't they? Except women
Yeah,
that Hunter Biden.
the ruling is the point of order will not be recognized, and Ms. Green is in order. If you want to object.
Well, yeah, I object. And Mr. Chairman, you have the authority to bring to the full House under Rule 17 whether or not pornographic material should be entered
And
without
again,
a clear
it's
showing of
not
relevance. And I would ask you to
Mr.
bring that to
Chairman.
the floor of the House. Let the members of the House decide whether that's the new standard, whether the
Mr.
Congresswoman
Chairman,
Marjorie
may I
Taylor
have
Greene's
my-
standard is going to be
may
the
I
standard for
reclaim
the whole
my
House.
time?
The quorum is within discretion of the chair. We've overruled your objection.
Okay. And I appeal that.
You appeal the ruling of the chair.
Yes, I do. I would like
So
to
we're
vote.
going to vote on that.
We're going to vote on the pornography.
May I finish?
Hold on. All right, Mr. Gosar, you're recognized.
I move to table the motion.
Okay. Motion to table the motion that of Mr. Raskins. This motion is not debatable. As many as are in favor of tabling signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the yeas and the motion, the yeas have it, and the motion to table is agreed to. The committee will now resume.
Mr. Chairman, I would move for a recorded vote. I mean, if that were a book, she would censor it, but she wants to advertise it through the House of Representatives.
Is ordered. A recorded vote is ordered.
If we're going courtroom, speaking objections don't work, Chief.
The clerk will call the roll. You'll call the roll. If you vote yes, you table the motion. So, clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Jordan. Mr. Turner. Mr. Gosar. Mr. Gosar votes yes. Ms. Fox. Ms. Fox votes yes. Mr. Grothman. Mr. Grothman votes yes. Mr. Cloud. Mr. Cloud votes yes. Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer votes aye. Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins votes aye. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Sessions votes aye. Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs votes aye. Ms. Mace. Mr. LaTurner. Mr. LaTurner votes aye. Mr. Fallon. Mr. Fallon votes aye. Mr. Donalds. Mr. Donalds votes yes. Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry votes aye. Mr. Timmons. Mr. Timmons votes aye. Mr. Burchett. Mr. Burchett votes aye. Ms. Green.
Aye.
Ms. Green votes aye. Ms. McLean. Ms. McLean votes aye. Ms. Boebert. Mr. Fry. Mr. Fry votes aye. Ms. Luna. Ms. Luna votes aye. Mr. Langworthy. Mr. Burleson. Mr. Burleson votes aye. Mr. Waltz. Mr. Waltz votes aye. Mr. Raskin.
No.
Mr. Raskin votes no. Ms. Norton.
No.
Ms. Norton votes no. Mr. Lynch. No. Mr. Lynch votes no. Mr. Connolly. No. Mr. Connolly votes no. Mr. Krishnamurthy. Mr. Khanna. No. Mr. Khanna votes no. Mr. Mfume. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez. Ms. Porter. No. Ms. Porter votes no. Ms. Bush. Ms. Bush votes no. Mr. Gomez. Ms. Brown. Ms. Stansbury. Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia votes no. Mr. Frost. Mr. Frost votes no. Mr. Kassar. Ms. Lee. Ms. Lee votes no. Mr. Kassar votes no. Ms. Crockett.
No.
Ms. Crockett votes no. Mr. Goldman. Mr. Goldman votes nay. Mr. Moskowitz. Mr. Moskowitz votes no. Ms. Tlaib. Ms. Tlaib votes no. Mr. Chairman.
Chairman votes yes.
Mr. Chairman votes yes.
Will the clerk please report the tally? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the nays are 15, the ayes are 21.
The yeas have it, and the motion to table is agreed to. The committee will now resume consideration of the Goldman Amendment. Ms. Green has 2 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, this information is extremely important because Hunter Biden refused to obey his subpoena, and we are holding him in contempt of Congress for doing so. This is important evidence of human trafficking, Mann Act violations that we had questions for the president's son about. And there's evidence. I'd like to show the evidence of payments. These are payments made from Hunter Biden and his law firm to so-called assistants. These were not assistants. These are prostitutes that he was trafficking. And I think these victims are important. And just because our Democrat colleagues don't like the evidence doesn't mean that it's not relevant. And I'm especially offended by the women on this committee that don't care about these women's rights. They're victims of Hunter Biden. Here's another excerpt from bank reports talking about victims. These are banks. And these banks are identifying these women as victims. Victim 2, talking about victim 2, victim 1, each appear to be in the adult entertainment industry and are receiving payments from Hunter and Owasco PC. It is unclear what relationship Hunter or Owasco PC have with these individuals. And based on public media, it appears possible the payments may be associated to prostitution or adult entertainment services. Victim 2 is a New York resident and employed as freelance. Per internet research, she is a social media influencer and adult entertainer. She received 6 quick pays for $6,250 from Hunter between 3/29/2018 and 11/20/2018. This is clear evidence, Mr. Chairman. These are important questions we have for the president's son pertaining to Mann Act violations.
Time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.